Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Torchlight 3 video, I want to give some beginner tips and tricks that hopefully will help you get started off on the right foot. This video is aimed at beginners and new players, but maybe if you've been playing the game for a while, you'll learn a thing or two as well. If you feel like there's anything I missed in the video, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter or the DMGCREW Discord. Thank you guys so much. Now let's go ahead and talk Torchlight 3. Upon creating your character, deciding what class you're going to play and which pet and all that fun stuff, next up you're going to be asked which difficulty you want to play on. It's important to note that the lowest difficulty you've ever played on that character is displayed with your player badge in-game that other players can see during co-op and also in shared towns. So keep in mind when deciding the difficulty what you want your badge to be. If you're like me and you want to really show off that you've played on the hardest difficulty, ridiculous, you might just want to start on ridiculous. Just so you know, I just think that's something that is not well described to the player and just is a good thing to know going in. If you're planning on starting out on normal and turning up the difficulty later, you totally can do that. It just will not display on your player badge that other people can see. I really like this system in the game just because it shows that if you're maybe having trouble on a boss and you want to just lower the difficulty to get through, the game kind of calls you out that you've done that. So I really like that it holds the integrity of your ridiculous character and that you've really put in the time on there and you can show it off to the world. I think it's a great system, but it's also something you as the player should be aware of. Next up, we have the Legendarium. Upon hitting character level 3, you're going to unlock this feature. Basically think Kanai's Cube from Diablo 3, but a little bit simpler. Basically, it stores legendary powers. You get some free ones on your brand new character. And as you find new legendaries, if you don't already have that legendary found from before, the legendary power will just automatically be added into your Legendarium. You unlock new Legendarium slots as you progress throughout leveling, but the first one is unlocked at level 3, and that's what I want to talk about real briefly. You're going to have a few options. My personal favorite is the Frenzy's Blade for basic auto attack. Increased attack speed on that. It's going to be nice because when you're first starting out, you don't have a load of skills to really choose. So you're going to be using basic attack a little bit more at the beginning of the game. Another viable option is the potion find option. When you first make your character, you're going to be low on resources. Potions do cost gold in the game, and so if you're having troubles, maybe you're dying a lot, you're using potions more than you thought you would, you can smack on this and find more potions as you go, in turn saving money and being able to heal yourself up. Also on this note, if you are low on health, you don't have any potions, and you want just a quick heal up, you can actually just port to town real quick, and that's a free health potion there as well. Once you've gone through the first dungeon, gone into town, you're going to probably be approaching level 5, which is when you unlock a new pet skill slot. Don't forget to equip your pet skills and actually put them on your skill bar for your pet. Otherwise, you won't be getting the full benefit from these pet skills. You can only have one aura on at a time, and you can have any of the other ones from CC to more health, healing. Lots of different pet options here, and you unlock more slots as you level up as well. Just don't forget that that exists. Early on in your adventure, you're going to unlock one of the features that I think is a big highlight of Torchlight 3, and that is the fort system. You should have your fort unlocked very early game and also have access to your luck tree. So before we talk about the luck tree and monuments, I just want to say the fort is a super cool feature. It is a good way to dump resources, and if you're really into building and making stuff like that, I think you'll really enjoy this feature. But I'm focusing more on the mechanics and things that are actually going to help out your stats and your character. Having a cool fort is a nice thing as well. But these monuments are a really interesting thing in this game. The luck tree, which you find early on from one of the characters in town, you put it in your fort and it gives you an account-wide magic find buff, essentially. So once you have the luck tree placed in your fort, this is going to provide you a permanent account-wide buff for all of your characters. You can feed items to this to increase it, and it's something I recommend doing. There's only 5 levels on the tree. It will take quite a while to get it up to max level. But now that there's going to be no more wipes after October 6th, just go ham, get that tree all the way up to max, and then you don't ever have to worry about feeding the luck tree again. The only other thing later on is after you've beat the story and unlocked enchanting, you'll have to decide if you want to disenchant items for the essences or sell them for gold. But if you can max out that luck tree early on, you can just be selling all your items, saving up money for gambling, potions, and other uses as well. The luck tree system and monument system doesn't end there. They take it one step further by having each frontier has their own monument as well. You have the Goblin, which is fire resistance, Hyvid, which is poison resistance, and then the third tier is actually a gold find monument. But you donate each items that you find from the frontier to each of those monuments to level them up as well. But what's really cool is if you find these monuments in another player's fort that you're visiting, you can donate any of the essences or the item for the luck tree and get a limited buff. And it's a, whatever you donate to. If you donate to someone's luck tree, you get a magic find buff, and then the 3 act monuments as well. You can get a buff from all of those. So if you're planning on doing something, maybe you want to go pick up these buffs so you can have some more resistance and magic luck find and do a speed run real quick or something like that. And it also helps out level up other people's trees as well. So it's really a social feature that I think is quite interesting and often overlooked by players. So don't forget, feed your own monuments and also donate to other people's monuments for a buff. So we've talked about character creation with your difficulty, your pet skills, your legendarium, and the fort system. Let's talk about another system in Torchlight 3, and that is contracts and fame. When you kill elites and you do certain things in the game, you earn fame. This fame is your contract level. It is directly related to contracts, and there are a few different contract paths that you can do, and you can do one at a time. You can level up each of them to max. Once you get one of them to max, it does go into a repeating loop. I personally do the adventurer track, but it's worth looking at and seeing if there's something specifically on the contract lines that you are looking for, whether it be a pets, fort props, whatever it is. I personally look for map works on these contracts, which is why I usually go the adventurer route and max it out and then just do the repeatable track. But who knows, maybe once I've maxed it out this time around, I'll do one of the others so we can get some of the exclusive pets or something. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's a part of every ARPG, and this is defenses. This should be pretty basic, but just in case. When you're working your way through the game, you're going to first go through the Goblin, which is fire-based damage. So when you're in there, you're going to want to be focusing on your fire resistance and also your physical resistance, and try to balance those. Something new that they've added into the game pretty recently, at least within the last month or two, is dodge chance. This is a new defensive mechanic that you can keep an eye out for and really helps out with your survivability. I'm not entirely sure what the defense cap is, but I would aim for 40% minimum. I think that used to be the cap. They may have changed it by now. I haven't played for a while because I'm really just waiting for the launch of the game. So yeah, keep an eye out on your dodge chance, your elemental resist, and try to balance it with your physical resistance as well. And then your Act 2 is going to be your poison resist. So once you beat Act 1 and transition into Act 2, you're going to have to build up a whole new resistance set. It feels really weird when you start, but hopefully you've maxed out your luck tree by this point and can start saving up gold so you can just go gamble a new poison set of armor. I wish you the best of luck with changing through the frontiers. That's one of the interesting parts of the game, is kind of having to rebuild your resistance up for each act. Last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about relics in Torchlight 3. These have seen a significant change. And most recently, what I want to talk about is the relic power and the relic skills. So it has its very own skill tree that you can use skill points in, just like you would on your other skill trees. But what I really want to talk about here and point out is within your relic skill tree, you can get relic powers that have a cooldown with no cost. You can also get relic skills that cost relic energy. You gain relic energy through fighting mobs. And then you also have a spender type of relic thing. Basically what this is think of it as like a finisher or like an ultimate skill. Once you've spent a certain amount of relic power casting your other skills, you can then use this finishing move, which is like an ultimate relic skill. You can kind of think of it as that. So for me personally, I'm probably going to have at least one relic active, a relic cooldown skill, and a finisher. I might pick up some passives, just depending. But you're really limited with only 70 skill points to use in the entire game. And there's like 9 skill slots. I mean, you can do the math. You can't max out every single skill on your bar. And then you also need to think about passives that you want to put in as well. So I think coming up with builds and really planning out builds is going to be a really challenging and fun task, because you're going to have to make some really hard choices when it comes to all this, with balancing your class skills, your relic skills, and all of that. But if you haven't played recently with the new Relic system. It is quite interesting with the Relic powers, generation, and spending and finishers. I'm super pumped to go absolutely ham on the game. The last thing I want to talk about, though, is with your build and your spec. Don't stress too much. You can get respecable items. They're a one-time use deal, but you can use a respectacle to respec one skill point. And as you progress and get into the end game, you're going to have quite a few of these. So it is nice to kind of plan out ahead so you don't have to consume a lot of these. But just keep in mind, if you screw up, you still have something to fall on and to kind of tweak your build a little bit as you're trying to challenge the Vizier's Dungeon endgame mode. So now that you know all these beginner tips and tricks for Torchlight 3, I don't know about you, but I am super pumped for October 6th on Tuesday. If you have early access already to the game, which you can buy on Steam for $34.99, you get access to it on October 6th. If you're waiting to pick up the game, remember the price will go up to $39.99, and that will be on October 13th. The game will be going and leaving early access on that date. I am super pumped for the 6th, though. I'm going to go absolutely ham, pushing my Railmaster as high as I can in Vizier's Dungeon. Maybe we'll play an alt later on. I'm just excited to see how Torchlight 3 is going to pan out after all this time, really, anyway. But if you want to know my thoughts on the Torchlight 3 release and if I think it's ready, I do have a video. I'll have a card up top for that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your friends. I can't thank you guys enough for your continued support. It truly means the world to me. I just can't thank you enough. I appreciate your time, support, and energy, and I hope you find these videos of value. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.